Welcome to Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm the Liverpool 12th Man. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. And if you're watching this on the replay, of course, I am happy that you've just clicked on the link and shown some love by, leaving a comment, leaving a like, hopefully for the show, just to show your support. And I appreciate it always and immensely. I wanted to do a quick review of our last Europa matchup and also give you a sneak peek for our big rivalry game coming up against Manchester United. I know that a lot of us had some things that we saw or some things that we were, looking for from our last Europa matchup. But in essence, you know what? I didn't really necessarily think that it was too much of a big deal, I guess you could say. That is our matchup that we had to take on against USG. It was is a game that we'd already wrapped up the division, or excuse me, the group, I should say. And we also had already taken into account that we have this big rivalry matchup on Sunday that we would have to take on, obviously, our hated rivals in Manchester United and the Red Devils. So with that said, I'm just going to pretty much give a somewhat of a quick review, not really go too in depth with the ratings on the players, because you know what, this game was an interesting game in itself. It meant that we had a lot of players that were, it was a mix of youth players, a mix of senior players. So it wasn't exactly something where it was, we're just throwing out. It wasn't like, I believe what was that matchup? I believe it was the Villa matchup one year when we just basically played our entire youth academy almost, because we had other tournaments that we were involved in, and it was impossible to basically field two teams or field a team and actually go on into the next competition. And that's the rigors of what it takes nowadays to be a part of these clubs. When you see a lot of the clubs that you see competing in whatever competition that they're competing in, it ends up being situation. Let me just make sure I get my camera already there for you. Oh, sorry about that. Bring you back center with the tunnel. But big up to all that are joining me again. So again, I want to do a quick rating review. There wasn't really. I think out of this game, I was going into. I mentioned it, but on the preview, that Thursdays now have become like a little bit of a breather day for me, in the sense of it's almost like I wouldn't say it's like the same level of a preseason matchup, because obviously we're going for silverware and I do want to win Europa this year, but it's also a situation where you get to see players that you normally wouldn't have seen, and you also get to see players try to take on that rigorous journey of trying to get back into form and into shape and into, all these different little things. So I'm going to pull up a little bit of a quick review again. If you guys want to chime in with your reviews or with your ratings on the players and how you thought they played, that, more power to you, because I would love to see that. I love when you guys contribute, whether it's in the comments or whether it's in the live chat. And also, I wanted to definitely include some things. I'll include this statement in what I wanted to say. Let me just say this first and foremost. When it comes to this game, the only thing that I was really, really disappointed, I guess you could say, was that the youth players didn't get the privilege of getting the W with them. I felt like, a lot of these youth players, they know it's their own. It might be one of their few, if anything, opportunities to play for the first team in a meaningful competition or a meaningful match. I know this game wasn't necessarily a meaningful match and that had any impact on the result for the group, but what I can say is that it's meaningful in the sense of it's still a Europa night. It's still a night in Europe, and that's important, and that's something that I think was my biggest take from it was that I really wanted to see them. I wanted to see the youth enjoy the win, feel like they're contributing, understand the complexities of what you have to go through to take on a night in Europe, and just feel more comfortable with their surroundings and everything. So big up to Lucky 1/6. Big up, brother. How are you doing? I know that that's what I got from it, at least. Okay, so I'm going to bring up this for you. So some of the players I don't have on here because let me just bring up this actually. So this was the lineup. I know it's kind of small, so let me just pause. So let me make it a little bigger for you, and I'll just bring it down for you. All right. So this was our lineup. We went with Ben Doak on the left. We went, which was interesting. Going with Ben Doak was an interesting move on the left, at least. I had Ben Doak. I don't know if you guys got to see my preview, but my preview, I got pretty much the entire lineup accurate. However, I didn't have Konate in there. I had Gomez in that place instead of Konate. And I think I did have Curtis Jones. Oh no, I had McConnell in for Curtis Jones' role. But I also knew I had Gomez in because I thought Gomez was going to be the one that wore the armband and got to bring out the team. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Curtis Jones, the Scouser, the other Scouser on our team, got to have that honor, and it was a big honor for him, I'm certain, because anytime you put on the armband for Liverpool, it should be a major honor. And Curtis Jones got that honor to take out our club and everything else. Let me see what we're gonna say about that. He says, Lucky saying, relax, bro. It says, relax, bro. Klopp must deliver the UCL in 2025 at the Allianz Arena, Germany. I agree. This year, the final, I believe, for UCL is in London, and then next year it's in Germany. There's no better place. Obviously, I would say no other better place that we can go other than maybe Wembley to win the UCL. I agree with you completely on that. But yeah, I think that I am relaxed. If anything, and what I'm trying to emphasize is that I am relaxed about Europa. I like Europa. Not that I want to be in Europa next year. Not that I like the fact that we are in Europa, but I know that it's the reality of us. The reality is that we are in Europa. So with that reality, or with that actual reality that we're dealing with, I'm like, okay, let's enjoy this ride. What are the positives? What are the things that we can get out of it? And one of the unique things I think we can get out of it is just exactly this. If you look at this lineup, we had Ben Doak again. The only really only people that could even say that they're starters on this lineup would be Ibu. Curtis Jones was a pretty much a solid starter, but he's now in that kind of like maybe not starter category. Wataru Endo, excuse me, again, not a starter with the format that Klopp plays. Harvey Elliott is more designated as a super sub for us, and Cody is trying to find his form. He is someone that could honestly be a starter, if he's in the form that we've seen him be previously. But we also know that Cody isn't there just yet. So out of this lineup, I mean, there's only really one, maybe two players that could honestly say that they expect to or normally expect to start in the lineup. So two, maybe three, if that at most. And to have Kai, I mean, I thought we were going to play Ben Doak on the right. I think that's possibly why we didn't see anything dynamic out of Ben Doak. Not giving him an excuse completely, but I think that Ben Doak on the right is a more natural fit than him on the left. But we wanted to make room. I think that we had more trust um, in Gordon on the right side than we did with Gordon on the left side, and we had more trust obviously in Dopey on the left rather than the right. So we played them in that format. Uh, Let me see what else did Lucky just say. Again, if you guys chime in as much as you want, I love engaging, and I believe, like I said, unlike a lot of different, especially before like this gets to levels where it's 10,000 or 20,000 or 100,000 people in here, the core of you that do follow me in the beginning or that subscribe to the station in the beginning, I do love the fact that you do, and therefore that's why I try to engage with you the most, because that won't change, even despite the fact that if the growers and subscribers, or subscribers or growers, excuse me, pause, the subscribers and the numbers might change, I still value your contributions. So he says, sorry for those that live in the West Coast, because y'all got to wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. to watch the UCL in Europa League draw. I agree. Earlier this year when they did the draw, and it was like 5:30, something like in the morning, man, that was a rough one, man. Rough one. I was hurting for that. And then, yeah, man, and it was just a draw. It was just a draw. And like, you got to wait for the teams to get, it was not, that was definitely an event, to say the least. Big up to Chris Angel in the house. I see you, brother. I see you for sure. Representing Bayesian Reds TV, Bayesian Angel / Chris Angel. What is good, brother? What is good? I was just going on about the fact that, this lineup that we're looking at here, they have the ratings, because this is the algorithm that they use on this site. Like, basically the only ones that actually had a somewhat decent game, you could say, was Kelleher had a half decent game. Curtis Jones had a borderline decent game. Jones again, Elliott borderline decent game. The only one that had like a really solid, by ratings at least, solid game was Kwanzaa on this list. I know that our bench, this was again, let me just make sure this is big enough pause for you. This was our bench, and oops, that might be too big. Pause. Pause on that. So this is the bench that we had. We had basically Gomez, Ryan, we had Callum, Darwin, and we had James and we had Marcelo, Fabian, Simicast, because his first name is a little bit harder than his last name, and Dom, and we had Diaz on the bench. Big up. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Ensman TV is in the house. Big up, Ensman. Ensman did the pleasure, or did the solid, gracious pleasure of allowing for me to, chat up with him and Savage on his station, on his channel, and we broke down a little bit of what I'm going on about today, which was, I thought that there was a little bit more involved. I think people were looking for a little bit more than we necessarily needed to look for in this game. I think, if anything, the biggest thing I wanted to look for in this game was an opportunity for the youth to shine and really make to show their transitioning into being ready for that next stage in their lives, and also for some of our senior players that are looking for form to be able to find it somewhat, be ready for some of these very, very difficult games that we have coming up, which is, we have West Ham, we obviously have United, which could rivalry, you got to throw all things out. And then also, if anything, we have a rivalry coming up with West Ham coming up, which is the cup game, and then we have Arsenal coming up again. All home games, fortunately for us, which is huge. Very, very different. Very, 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 very important. And let's see what else. Tomorrow, if you're free, might be too early, noon, preview UK time. If you're free, jump on. Oh, I will for sure. It's not too early. I have like I usually wake up early in the mornings anyway. I got work to do, man. Got work to do. So I will for sure. I'll send you a chat. Just send me the link actually, and I'll be sure to put it into the schedule to make sure I can contribute, because I miss the days when we used to chop it up regularly, guys, for sure. Because Ensman, Savage, the whole crew over there, great guys, great people. There's some great content contributors out there. Whether it's Bayesian Res TV, whether it's Quasi Bold, whether it's Ensman TV, whether it's Savage Sports. We got Jamie Phillips. We have obviously Kopish, because they're huge with the things that they press and push in the essence of supporting the community. A lot of content creators out there that are just really, really great. But yeah, let's just get back to this again. So I had this is basically what we saw for. I know this might be again. It's going to definitely be. Let me zoom in on this one a little bit better for you guys. So this is some of the stats that we saw for us, and this is the entire game stats. Obviously USG had a 2.32 expected goal against our 0.29. Despite the fact that we had the ball 69% of the time, they still got 15 shots off. They still got 6 on target, 8 off target. We had 4 shots with 3 on target. Which is something interesting, because normally we have a lot of shots but not on target. Okay, no problem. I see you. All right, Ensman. He's gonna check in, and he's gonna send me the link for a little bit. Let me see what else. I had Chris Angel saying I actually did catch the game, so no negativity from me today, which is interesting. He's the Chris Angel has Sith blood in him. I have Sith blood in me. It's just that the Sith Lord in me sometimes doesn't rise to the top. I do keep it a little bit positive. People always put that, something must be wrong. Liberal Talk Man isn't as positive today as he normally is, or this or that. I do have sometimes. I do take it to the extent of what I need to do with the critiques. But again, let's see, 5 as well, 3 offside suicides, but only 9 off corner kicks. And if you see it, 7 corner kicks for them. And normally one of the things I've been trying to get a mathematical breakdown. That's how I sometimes the beautiful mind that is in my head gets, starts picking out all these different constellation style stars in there to figure out how to really diagnose these games. And normally for me, when you see corner kicks, that's something that I focus in on, that normally the team that has the higher number of corner kicks. This isn't always the case, but sometimes it usually tends to say who had, despite the possession, who had the more aggressive chances or more offensive-minded chances in the game. Because normally, if you're giving up corner kicks, that obviously means that the ball is in your defensive third. It either means that you're getting a deflection for a corner kick, or it means that you've done some type of clearance, or something. You tried to do some type of clearance and it went out of bounds, or you kicked the ball out of bounds, or you did some defensive maneuver that forced the corner kick and has created the opportunity for the opposing team to get a corner kick against your team. And it means something. But you could see that they were definitely more of the fouling. They had a lot more teams are doing this to us this year, and that is taking a mindset of knowing that, especially the teams that don't have the ability, much less the talent, to necessarily beat us by talent versus talent. You're seeing a lot more teams take on the role of just go out there and foul them. Just go out there and foul them. We saw them against Crystal Palace. We saw it in this game, especially towards the end when it started to get pretty cheeky. With I believe it was Bradley that was going back and forth. That was going back and forth. I'm trying to think who he was going against. Let's see. I don't even know if he got. I don't even know if the guy he was going back and forth was even. Was it Burgess? Burgess? No, I forget who it was. It was like someone that was going back and forth with him, and it was like it was one of those things where like Bradley even like eventually just like tossed them down, because they were holding, grabbing, pushing, kicking, doing whatever they could just to try to get under the skin of our players, because they understood the fact that realistically, their talent level isn't to the talent level that we necessarily have, but they got the win all the same, and kudos to them for doing that. Let's see, the last but not least. So real quick, you know what? I'm just gonna I was gonna do like the ratings, super ratings, but we'll just utilize this as showing what the ratings would have been. Again, because I don't have all the players for this, so I'm gonna go with quick ratings for the players that I do have, and then I'll just have to verbally comment on the players I don't have on the list here. So with Kelleher, I thought Kelleher had a pretty good performance. I don't like the fact that he, again, there's bouts and times when I see Kelleher. I think Kelleher really needs to get some real good game time in. And I mean like some consistent game time. I like the fact that we obviously had Alisson back for the Crystal Palace game, because we came up super, super huge with some incredible, I think at least two, if not three, incredible saves in that matchup. But I thought Kelleher had some really good saves, and then but to get beaten near post, if you've ever been a keeper in your life, or if there's ever a faux pas, one of the faux pas that you don't want to get as a keeper is to allow for, first and foremost, not to allow for a goal when it's a near post shot. You can't allow for that to happen. It's the easiest. I mean, for a player to get on the other side of you, that's one thing. To bend it around you, that's one thing. But if anything, that near post should be a priority to you, and there should be nothing sneaking in past you on that near post. He allowed for a goal that way, which was the decisive goal. And you don't want to get megged, obviously, too. But again, I would have given him an average. He was borderline average, if not below average, but he did make a couple of different decent saves in the matchup. I thought Gomez had a good game. I wouldn't necessarily I don't think anyone had an above average game except for like Kwanzaa, but I would have put and they're like borderline. I thought Elliott had an average game. I thought Cody had a little bit of below average game. I definitely thought Cujo had a below average game. Let's see who else got minutes. I would have put Nunez as an average game because he didn't really get much of a chance to really do much of anything. I thought that despite him coming out at halftime, I don't think that was any knock. I think the reason why Endo came out at halftime, again, wasn't any, because I've seen some people comment on other things like Enzman TV. I saw some people commenting on Enzo getting subbed out at halftime once again because he got subbed out in Crystal Palace. I don't think it had anything to do with this performance. If anything, it had to do with a shift of gears of us trying to get a more offensive press and push towards our midfield, and also the fact that we didn't necessarily need a destroyer at the moment or at the time in either of those games. And I also think and understand that because of Maka's injury, which is a lot worse than I thought, and it's amazing how, a player that had a cut that was so bad that it went down to the bone or something like that, they said, how that didn't result in a card of any measure, goes to tell you what they're doing this year with officiating. But I just thought that Endo had an average game, nothing great, nothing spectacular. I thought that Ibu, again, average at best. I thought Ben Doak. I don't want to be too harsh on the youngsters. They didn't have any real like Kai Gordon. Like we'll put Gordon and Doak, I think, had the same type of games. They didn't have any shots on goal. They didn't have any anything like to show for it at the end of the game, which is unfortunate. But I just thought that they had. I don't want to say that they had a below average matchup. It's just difficult because I want to be critical. And, I do believe that Doak and Gordon both had somewhat below average performances. I'm not saying that that's their talent level at all. I just think that they just haven't gotten into the groove yet with how this team and what it's going to take for you to be a part of this team just yet. And, we've had some real high hopes for Doak. With his ability to take on players, his obvious commitment in the gym. I mean, the guy is stacked. He's obviously looking at taking Salah's advice and going in the gym and pushing up some weights. But we just haven't seen it necessarily, transcend to the pitch for him. I'll put Endo. I'll keep Endo up there. Whatever. Yeah. I thought Gravenberch again didn't have that great of a game. The other players like Scanlon, I thought again could be all. We'll just put down. I think all the youth players, all had the same type of performance as a Doak, and I don't mean that negatively in the sense of saying that they're bad players. I just think that they had slightly below average when it comes to the expectations of what it takes to play, not only for Liverpool, but to play in anything, whether it's Champions League or Europa. I just think they had a little bit of below average of performances. I think the only real player, again, that had any bit of a really above average, I would say even top tier average, had to be Kwanzaa. I love this. I love the progression of this player. I love that this guy is certainly putting in a lot of commitment and effort. You guys got to check out if you're not subscribed, subscribe to Ensman TV. Ensman put up his what do you call it, little thumbnail for his upcoming show for the preview. Includes Kwanzaa, and in there it's funny because Kwanzaa said, I think Kwanzaa didn't. It's funny because he's an English speaker, so you can't say that he doesn't know the translations completely. But his comment of saying my condolences to Joel. Oh man, savage to say the least. But he was aiming to take over Matip's role, he said basically, and he has certainly had the opportunity to do so with the injury that happens to Matip. But he played really well, and I like the fact that he had the confidence to not get flustered, to not think about trying to find someone else to facilitate the pass to, when obviously Curtis was looking for him directly, looking for him as a target in the box. And he was able to just slot home a really, really excellent strike with the right foot for his for what should be now, I think, his third goal, but it ends up being, I think, his second goal for the year for the campaign. Lucky is saying, want to snatch away the EFL Cup from Everton in the finals at Wembley. Those on the blue side of Merseyside haven't won a trophy since 1995 FA Cup finals. That would be a very interesting matchup if we end up seeing that, brother. I agree. It would definitely be a welcome return for the Blues. And it would also be to at least have an opportunity to say something for the year. I'd like to say, I was very critical. I allowed for some of the rivalry hatred to rise up. But in this year, trying to say I'd like to see them get relegated. But having thought about it, I look for the best for Liverpool as in the city in itself. So I'm looking at Liverpool to say that I hope, I have to give it up to Liverpool, or give it up to Everton this year, that they've been really doing a doing a job, despite having the 10-point deducted for their fines and for their punishment this year. Despite that, they are really doing well. I mean, they would be pretty much close to mid-table, if they didn't have the point deduction. But they're doing their best to really play well, do what they need to do to pull out some key victories. They've played some games where they've actually not only beaten teams, but handedly controlled games to win 3-0, for instance, or whatever the matter might be. So, more power to them. And also, I've seen some Everton fans that have shown some type of support or love towards my channel, that I've seen on other channels. I try to reach out to them to say, to give them their props for this year, and wish them the best on their pursuit to avoid relegation this year, and continue to keep up their part and due to a certainly historic franchise club of Everton in itself. So there's some of the nicest words you're going to hear out of me about Everton, but all the same, more power to them and their pursuit in not only staying up, but making this year a significant year for them. So other than that, I think I have pretty much everyone that I had the ratings in for. Again, I had Doak. Kai Gordon again. I think we would have to say, if anything, Doak being one of the few people that is a youth player other than Kwanzaa. Doak kind of represented the play of all of them. Whether it was Connor Bradley, whether it was Luke Chambers, you could see that they are still young, that they are still getting into the mindset, whether it was McConnell, whether it was, again, Scanlon, who I have high hopes on. All these players I have high hopes to see develop into players that can contribute. But for right now, it is what it is. They're youth players, and it is what it is with them. John Conway, brother, big up, big up. I hope that you're well, and I hope that you are getting ready for this upcoming match for sure. Let me see what Lucky said. Can't wait to beat up United in the Northwest Derby, then West Ham in the Cup at home. Yeah, I want to see us definitely not show any let up on throttle when it comes to picking up on that. And with that said, it's a good segue. Let's just segue into what I say, which would have been a sneak peek into it. Now this isn't necessarily confirmed, but I believe that, and I'm going to break this, but this isn't confirmed, so therefore I'm not certain if this is accurate or not. But still, the same, I definitely wanted to share this because I saw this. I believe that Manchester United have picked up a new sponsor, possibly a new kit sponsor. I don't know if any of you guys heard this or not. John, tell me if you guys did, or Lucky, or Enz, or Chris, or whoever else is in the chat, or even if you see this on the replay, to tell me what you think about their new sponsor, possibly. But this is apparently the new kit that they're coming out with. I don't know if this is going to be a third kit or what they're going to do, but I know that this apparently is going to be the new sponsor for Manchester United. I hope that they do unveil this kit for the game. Be great to see. I don't buy obviously United kits, but I mean, if I did have any United fans or friends, I would certainly purchase this kit for them. But yeah, this would be great. What, big up to them. If 7-Up is now your new sponsor, more power to you. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So yeah. I would like to definitely say that it's going to be interesting. I'll put their new kit in the corner there. I really think that's going to be very interesting to see what we're going to be looking at when it comes to Manchester United. I don't know how you guys are feeling about the United game. I know that in this United matchup, there are a lot of injuries that United are going to be having to deal with. Not only is there a lot of injuries they're going to have to deal with, but there's going to be there's definitely going to be a great deal of focus, to say the least, on some of the players that have, kind of taken the low road, I would say, in getting out of having to play in this game coming up. You can say what you want, but I honestly do believe that Bruno did did go and try to get a red card, I believe, for this match somewhat on purpose. I would almost say, that's just, speculation, but all the same, I think that he did, because I think that realistically he remembers what it was. Maybe it was because of the announcement of the new kit sponsor. Maybe that's the reason why, he chose to go this direction. But yeah, I know that. Let me see if I can. No, I don't want to do that one. I'm going to see if I can get it better here. But he did definitely go as far as by getting his red card. We're not going to be seeing Bruno involved in this matchup. Most likely it'll be Hoyland. We'll see Anthony. We'll probably see Rashford. We'll see Garnacho. In the midfield, we'll see Amrabat and McTominay. We'll see Dalot, Johnny Evans, Varane, and I think Luke Shaw is injured as well. So I don't believe we'll even see Luke Shaw as well. The list for people that are out for them is obviously Casemiro. Martinez is still out. Obviously, the long term injury that he has. Malaysia or Malaysia, doesn't matter. You're not going to see him. Mount, Martial is out. Harry Maguire is out. Bruno Fernandes, as I said, who is Master Splinter apprentice. Bruno Fernandes is suspended, so he'll be out. And Lindelof is doubtful. And there is some Van der Beek possibly has cemented his exit from the team, so should be interesting. I'm going to put up your score preview prediction, John, in 1 second. Let me see what Lucky has to say. Says, I don't want Everton to get relegated. Just enjoy beating them in the Merseyside derby every season. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I feel you. I guess, sometimes the despise and hate for your rivals can get you to a place where, where like that hatred gets beyond just the rivalry, and I'm at the moment where I'm seeing the heart and the emphasis that they're playing with to make sure that they don't get relegated. They're fortunate that they're getting this 10 points deducted this year and not last year, because if it was last year, they would have been relegated. But with that said, they're definitely making a difference this year. And, I'm looking at it as like kudos to them, more power to them. And I hope that, whatever it ends up being at the end of the year, that they're comfortable and that they played for what I think is, the emphasis of every team, or what every team should emphasize, which is playing for that badge on the kit, playing for every last supporter that puts their heart and soul into supporting the team. They should also put that support on the pitch and commitment to the game. And you don't necessarily see that in every team. That's one thing I personally think. You don't see that same overall, like, commitment to excellence, commitment to dedication and hard work that you see on every team. And no matter what it is, sometimes that level rises depending on what club you're actually playing for. And that's why I say that is Liverpool have such an exceptional level when it comes to, having to deal with what they need to do with the club performances. So anyway, John Conway has, I saw this too. I'll put Lucky's answer. John Conway has it as Liverpool 4, Liverpool 4, and he has 0 going to the Red Devils. Yeah, man. I think that is funny that Liverpool should be it should be a very interesting matchup. Lucky has it as Liverpool 10. Wow, if we get 10, that'd be great. Liverpool 10, Manchester United 0. No team in the Prem has beaten a team by more than 9 goals. So let's break the record. I agree. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I think because you just said that, I'm gonna put in definitely two bets this weekend. I'll put a 9-0 bet and I'll put a 10-0 bet in there too. Why not? Just for like laughs and giggles. But appreciate it, Lucky. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support that you guys all do by chiming in, or just even if you guys are just listening at work, or whether you're listening in the car, or you're just at home, wherever you're at. I appreciate the fact that you're showing support, staying logged in, so that the algorithm sees that I'm keeping your attention, or and everything else. But it should be fun and they're good. I have quick. I will try and do my best, but since the games are so early, it does make it a little bit more hard. It makes it a little bit more difficult for me to get a preview in an hour and a half before game time, because I like to try to get a preview in of the game an hour and a half before the game time, because an hour is when they do announce the game, the actual lineups, and that way I could show you my prediction and then have a live update to my predictions. And I kind of like that that drum roll in the back to see how much I got correct and how much I got wrong, and how much we all got wrong in a sense collectively. But as I see it, and again, I'll do my best to get this into more of a concrete form. But for the matchup against Man United, I'm looking at Alisson in goal. I'm believing that because we saw Trent, and because we can knock out these players, because we saw Trent, we saw Salah, because we saw Virgil, and who else didn't make the trip? Obviously, Maka didn't make it because of the injury. But I believe that's all. I think those are the three big names. Virgil, both our captains, Mo Salah. I don't think Alisson was on. I don't think he was on our bench. Let me double check. Yeah, Alisson didn't make the trip. So I don't think anyone really from our basically our entire leadership group. Oh, big up. This is to myself and to the entire chat. This is LFC Aaron saying, "Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, kind sir." Yeah. So again, if you guys are just tuning in or chiming in, I do have a big alleged. Again, this is all just alleged, but I do a big announcement for the Manchester United Red Devils having a new sponsor, and I have the kit right there in the top corner of there. So if you guys want to make it's almost Christmas time, so in case you have a loved one that is a Red Devil supporter and you want to get them a kit. This kit hopefully will be available before the Christmas celebration. So again, let me just take a quick drink here. Again, I'm thinking that because you didn't see those players, those are most likely the players that you will see for the Manchester United, sponsored by 7-Up, allegedly. Against those Devils. I think that you will see Alisson in goal. I think you'll see Trent at the right back. Obviously, you'll also see. I believe that you will see Ibu, considering he didn't get a full run in. You'll see Ibu at that right center back role. You will see also. I mean, there's a strong shout to see Kwanzaa in that role, to be honest with you. But I don't know if, and this is what I've been saying too, is that I don't believe that Kwanzaa plays right center back for this team. I think that we saw him in a right back role once this year. Again, it was in Europa, but all the same, we saw him in that right back role. I think that was possibly Klopp kind of seeing how he can adapt or adjust to playing that right back role, if anything, if necessary. But just to get him familiar with what it takes to play in that right back role. Excuse me. But I don't think that I think that when you do see Kwanzaa, you will tend to see him in that left center back role that we see Virgil van Dijk play. So again, I think that it's going to be Alisson in goal, Trent at right back. I believe Konate will play at that right center back. Obviously, we'll get our captain back in Roger Van Dijk to hold it down as the not only the captain, but basically the facilitator of our defense in that left center back role. I think Tsimikas, considering that we didn't see Tsimikas play at all in the game, despite being on the bench, I think we'll see Tsimikas play in the lineup. I'm going to pull up your LC Aaron. I see your prediction. I'm going to pull it up after I get pause. I'm gonna bring your comment up in 1 second, and then to go against what I've said. And then I also think that we'll see Dominic, since we didn't see him at all, even though he was on the bench. I think we'll see Dominic obviously in that that right midfielder position. I don't know why they have this. Originally, I don't think we're going to see now. This one service that I use has Trent as being our being in that midfield, in that holding position, midfielder holding position, the center midfield position. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that we will see, and this is something, the reason why I think that I think the reason why Endo got a limited run, again, wasn't simply because we wanted to have a more offensive threat in the midfield. I think from that reason alone, we'll most likely see him start possibly this weekend against Manchester United. I personally wouldn't mind seeing, this is just a random throw, but I kind of wouldn't mind seeing Gravenberch play that defensive midfield. I'm kind of, especially if we don't have Maka, I don't want to see Curtis in that role right now. But I kind of wouldn't mind seeing Ryan in that role. It'd be interesting. How do you guys think about that? It'd be very interesting. I know that I've been hotter. I mean, Ryan's had a hot or cold performance this year, but again, I just think that'd be an interesting role for him to play. It'd be kind of a cool position for him to do so, because unlike Endo, who is more of he likes to shield the ball if he gets it and be able to quickly just facilitate it, to our more predominant facilitators in Trent or whoever's playing our left, or whoever's playing right, obviously Dom, but having Trent to have an outlet to, or Dom to have an outlet to, maybe even passing back to Virgil, or even passing back to whoever is playing on the left side for us, whether it's Curtis, whether it's Hackpo for lack of a better person to put in there. But I kind of wouldn't mind seeing, this is just me thinking outside the box, but if we were to have Gravenberch play that DM role for us, okay, and I know that some people aren't so high on his defensive measures. I don't think he's any bit the worst of a defensive measured player than Maka, for instance. It would be very interesting, because I think that the way the athleticism, the ability to do progressive carries, once he gets the ball and him having the ability to turn and progressively carry it forward, I think would be a very interesting twist, or at least option or adaptation to this lineup that we could definitely see in really triggering that counter-strike, triggering the offensive turn for our club. But again, who knows? I think Endo most likely will get the start. I don't necessarily think that we're going to see Gravenberch in that DM role, but that's just something that would be kind of cool to see, I think, considering that we won't be seeing Maka there, considering that we most likely won't need a destroyer versus the Devils, and considering that we could see Curtis there, but we have already seen him there in that role. No one was like overwhelmed by his play there, and that we the other options that we have are all injured. So that'd be interesting. But I mean, like, again, this is just me thinking. Again, if you disagree, or if you don't, or you're kind of like on the fence about it, or if you do agree, hey, let me hear about it. I would love to have that conversation. Again, this isn't something that's I'm sharpening in as my decision. I'm just saying it'd be interesting to see. And it's so crazy that a rivalry game, or the state of Manchester United is so poor that I'm looking at this game as just a degree over our competition in Europa. That's how sad it is to say. But let me see. So this is, let me finish the lineup. So on the left side, if we do see Endo in the defensive midfielder role, I think that we are going to most likely see either Curtis Jones or Ryan play on that left midfielder role. I think to have that open option of where we want to put Hakpo in the game, whether it's in to sub in for one of those players, which I don't want to see necessarily. I want to see Hakpo either on the left wing or the center forward position. One of the two. That's all. That's pretty much what I want to see when it comes to Cody. And on the left wing side, I think because we didn't see anything from Diaz this past weekend, I only think he was on the bench, but he didn't even play. I want to see Diaz on the left wing. I'd like to see Nunez, obviously Nunez in the center forward role, and obviously we're going to see the Egyptian King Mo Salah in the right wing. So I'm going to pull up LC Aaron's, and if you guys got some line predictions, please include them in. Let's see. LC Aaron says, I think that he thinks, I should say, that he's going to see Alisson, Gomez, Konate, Virgil, Tsimikas, Trent as the DM. Very interesting. And that is interesting because one of the services I use has Trent in that DM role too. Dom as the on the right, I assume. Gravenberch on the left, I assume. And then Salah, Nunez, and Diaz. So not too much of a difference in what I was saying, except for that he has Trent playing that DM role. It has Gomez as that right back role. And that's a solid shout. I'm not disputing that at all. I appreciate the support, brother. Definitely spur them on to give a thumbs up for sure. I need those thumbs up to get that algorithm popping. And then there was another comment. He thinks he's probably well wrong. And no, you know what? Hey, just take a stab at it, brother. Like pause. Like just take everyone has. This year has been a very difficult. It's been a difficult year to try to predict starting lineups. I think this is the closest to this matchup, considering Klopp's hints at what is definite. There's a lot of players that are sharpied in. Obviously, Alisson is sharpied in. Obviously, Virgil is sharpied in. Trent is another player that's sharpied into the lineup. Dominic is sharpied into the lineup. I would definitely say Nunez is close to being sharpied into the lineup, which I'm happy to see because I want to see him get runs and just get his form and get that little bit of a scoreless streak behind him. Diaz, same thing. I would like to see him get some more goals under his campaign tally. Again, and I think that he is somewhat close to being sharpied in on the left wing. I think our front line is pretty much established who we think is going to be the front three when it comes to our front lineup. The midfield, a little bit different story because of what we have on the left, how many options we do have the left midfield, a midfielder. And with our back line, I think it's pretty much a given as to who we expect to see. But this was my take on Gravenberch. I know LC Aaron had a disagreement. He says, LC Aaron says that he disagrees with me. He says that Gravenberch can travel with the ball, but I'm not sure he's the best at going the other way with the ball. So when you say the other way with the ball, do you mean defensively with the way with the ball, or do you mean with, because quite a bit I think that Gravenberch shows his athleticism, and I think that Gravenberch is one of the most athletically talented players on the team. And I mean athletically talented, I mean with speed, with like obviously with height, with okay, I see what you're saying. You mean with tracking back. Okay, I get you. And that should be unique. I think that the reason why I'm saying that I would be interested in seeing him perform at the defensive midfield, because I have seen him track back somewhat in the games he's been in, because that's the emphasis for every player, is to track back and make an emphasis on that. And we're fortunate that we don't have any, so established superstars that they take it lightly and they pick and choose when they want to track back. We have, like Mane, despite being a superstar, tracked back like it was his job, and which it was. But I mean, all the same, he tracked back like a commitment to track back. And that's one thing I always appreciated and loved about him. It's something that I saw Diaz this year make a solid progression towards from his performances last year, which is, you've noticed his numbers defensively have been increased, where when it takes to him tracking back, the amount of ground duels that he's having and taking on, all those numbers have increased this year because he's made a commitment, more of a commitment to being that left wing that tracks back and helps. I'd like to see his numbers obviously increase in accuracy and everything else, or winning those ground duels. And you are seeing it from last year, but I'd like to see that number be a higher number than it is currently. But I also know that when I'm saying that about Gravenberch, I've seen him track back because he's got the athleticism, and because he's starting to get the fitness into shape for him. I think that he can make the box-to-box runs and everything else, and being that we do have coverage for him and everything else, if we were to see him utilized in other roles, I would like to see him be able to give a shot at it. I mean, like, it'd be interesting to see him being able to be an outlet, for him to be able to get the outlet and just go with it. And we've seen him be able to just go with it. Have a lot. He has to work on his control with it. He has such athleticism, in my opinion, that sometimes I think he kind of like goes a little bit almost too fast for himself, that he kind of like, is a little out of control with his progressive carries. And that's when you see him bumping into players, or, or going out of bounds the ball, those kinds of occurrences. That's the one thing I definitely see as being a negative against him, in that sense, that he has to, not negative, but like more of a constructive criticism for Ryan. But other than that, I agree. I can understand you saying what you're saying with the tracking back. And Aaron is also saying this. He says, he reminds me so much of a young Paul Pogba. And that's also, I agree too. I never saw Pogba, I don't say never, but I rarely saw Pogba do a real commitment towards his defensive measures, or towards him being a defensive stalwart. He always utilized his athleticism, his athleticism, I mean like his strength, his physicality, his physical stature of being taller, bigger, stronger than those in the midfield somewhat, that he had to take on, or the other players opposition had to take on. And I can understand why you can make that comparison. If we end up having a young Pogba, oh wow, that'd be great. There's so much upside, I think, for this player. For Ryan, I'm speaking on. And I'm happy that we ended up getting him for what was looking like to be a steal of when it comes to what we paid for him. And I'm very high on the talent, ceiling that potential talent, ceiling that we have for this player. But I can understand what you're saying. I just think that it'd be interesting, because one thing I'm starting to recognize too, even when Endo, who I'm a very big proponent of. When it comes to Endo, I'm under this pretense that, like a lot of these games, we don't necessarily need a destroyer in a lot of these games. We just need someone that has an offensive, has offensive value points to bring in contribution. And that's something that I agree, or I think of. And let's see which site. Absolutely, 35 million is a bargain. It is, isn't it, Aaron? It is an absolute bargain of a price for someone at his age, with his talent, with his his athleticism. It is an absolute bargain. The fact that he plays total football in the sense of he can play on the right. We've seen him already as a right in the right winger position. He could possibly play in the left wing position. He could play in the left mid. Who knows? I'm hoping. I know that was under his CV, that he could play possible a DM role for us. I just like the fact that, with this team and having a hybrid DM/CM role as a possibility, as being a structured, component of our foundation. I really do like that this player is that possibility of, being that role player. But yeah, that's pretty much the team I think of as being in there. The 4-0 shout's a good shout. I think that the 9-0 shout, if not the 10-0 shout, is even better shout. It really will be very interesting. A rested Mo, a rested Virgil van Dijk, a rested Trent is going to be something going against a Manchester United team that all of which understand what it's going to take, the gravity of this game, understand the fact. I'm not saying all the players, I should say, because they have, Højlund and Guard, those kind of players or whatever. But and I'm with you, Aaron. I you know what, the W is what win, 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 win. That kind of concept is all the major concept that I have. I'd like to see us in the bottom line get the 3 points, move on to West Ham, get that game under wraps, considering that in the cup we have already seen both Arsenal or our title contender teams along with us in Arsenal and City be bounced out of this cup competition, making us, I believe, the favorites for this tournament so far or currently. So I'd like to see us have the opportunity to really, obviously, find some form. Let's get a hat trick for Nunez. How about that? Let's get a goal for if we're going 10-0. There's going to be plenty of goals to go around. So let's get a hat trick for Nunez. Let's get a from outside the box shot goal for Dom. Let's get an amazing take on from the left to the right of Diaz. I don't know, making Johnny Evans fall on his keister and get a goal out of Diaz. Let's have let's get a Mo Salah penalty goal. Okay. And let's have a free kick goal to Trent. It's just basically, let's make it the holiday cheer, for this game on Sunday against Manchester United. I'm looking to see everyone. I want an Oprah style game for us to have, where you get a goal, you get a goal, you get a goal, you get a goal. That's what I would love to see. And I agree with you. Sometimes it's more difficult to get up for the next match after a big win. And I agree, it can be, especially, considering that this is such a big game. It's such a big game. But again, you know what? I just wanted to say, it was good to see the youth play. I want to say to the youth, hey, keep your heads up. Despite the fact that you didn't get the win in your opportunity, I want to say the fact that we all still show love and support to each and every one of the youth players. Continue to push on towards, working for your goals. Continue to push on, knowing that all of us as Reds support each and every one of you, whether you are a veteran player or whether you're a youth player, whether you're a squad player. It does not matter. We're all behind you as we walk with you on this journey. And big up to McConnell who got play, Scanlon who got play. Trying to think of some of the other players that got. I know Marcelo didn't get into the game, but let's say big up to. So happy to see Cade Gordon get back into the mix of things for this player that had. There was a time when Gordon was the most the highly coveted player on our lineup when it came to youth players as being, the next big thing for us. He had an unfortunate injury that has definitely, sidestepped or sidelined that progression. But it's great to see him back. I hope that he continues to put the hard work in and dedication towards it. And I hope that he can find that form and that, just to find the form and everything that he needs to for him to be back at it. Don't allow for, I know how easy it is when you get an injury to the hardest thing sometimes, or the most difficult thing sometimes is to get the confidence to push past that injury, to not allow for it to loom, not allow for it to be a negative or a crutch, but to just get it behind you and just move on to saying, my body's ready, my mind mentally is ready. And I'm willing and wanting to allow for the hard work and dedication that I put in this game to start to show that, hey, let me just get out there and contribute to this club and to this team and to this historic fan base. And the same with Ben Doak, I'd like to see him, his progression go. So big up to Ben Doak, big up to Connor Bradley, big up to Luke Chambers, who got a chance to play as well. Big up to Kwanzaa, who showed and surely showed and proved that he was that he's made leaps and bounds when it comes to his progression. And I'm so happy that Klopp has the same mindset that I have when it comes to the progression and development of youth players. And that is not always just sending him out alone, in the essence of what I believe Klopp does and what is my mindset too, which is keep them with the club, allow for them to get in, practices, whether it's, whether it's the practice with the first team or whether it's, playing with the U23s or the under 21s or whoever it is, whatever team they qualify for, to continue to get familiarity with not only their teammates on the senior team or even with the youth teams, but to also get familiarity with the system and allow for them to grow and understand the roles and what's required of them. And also getting the tutelage of their teammates, Klopp has said this is something I've said as well, the immense, I know, Chris Angel, I know, too much positivity. I'm about to end it. The immense ability to say that, you know what, my train of thought, the immense ability to see the development in-house with the youth, to see the ability of the progression of form when it comes to whether it's youth players, squad players, or starters trying to just find that rhythm and that step. But all the same, I appreciate each and every one of you. We're not going to get a full 90 in today, but you guys had me for pause for at least over an hour here. So I'm going to bid adieu so I can get the rest of my day and work all accomplished. Got a big weekend ahead of me. I wish you all the best. I wish your family the best as well, of course. And to each and every Red, of course, you know what? Take care of yourselves and make an effort and a commitment to take care of others, because if anything, to be, in my mind, a proper Red it means that we all walk along together. And as brothers and sisters, we understand the fact that there is nothing that can stop us when we are a collective and we are just what we have to be, and that is the mighty Red Army. And I appreciate each and every one of you. So big up. I hope that you guys have fun. If you guys are going to go to your boozer this weekend and get in a couple of pints with your mates, or if you're going to stay at home, watch this game, or whether you're going to be watching. I know that Ensman TV, for instance, is doing a watch along. I know that Resman TV normally do a watch along. Most likely they will, because I know they do watch alongs, and this is the biggest game of the year so far for us. Yeah, hey, let's all like root on our team for sure. So let's do it. Giving updates. So again, appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you guys very, very soon. So with that, I bid you adieu and wish you the best, my brothers and sisters. Big up the Reds, and I will see you soon. Take care, guys.